Hello, it is February 26th, 2026, and today is the ninth day of Lent. I got up this morning around 6:30 and got ready, and then I was in my meditation by 6:45, maybe even probably before. And I today's meditation was similar to yesterday's, that I was able to drop in and stay there for extended periods of time, and I didn't open my eyes until the timer went off. Today, I did peak at 1 minute left because my phone was not on Do Not Disturb, and I got a text message about 15 minutes before the end, and it just said, so and so sent a long message. Would you like me to read it? And whenever I got that, just based on my own internal clock, I thought we were around 10 minutes left. And then 15 minutes go by, and my internal clock was like, that was definitely longer than what I thought it would be until the timer went off. And I was just trying to not, I was just trying to stay in it as long as possible and not open my eyes. But then I got to this point where I felt like this idea came into my head that the alarm didn't go off and I oversat. And so just basically that thought made me just like slightly peek and see a 1. And I was like, okay, just stay here. And I stayed there until the timer went off. But other than that, essentially dropped in and stayed there the whole time. And it, it was good. There was no major revelation, or nothing came up that's giving me journal content for speaking. I should get my written journal, see if there's anything in here. After meditating, I went to Pony Coffee as per usual, and journaled, wrote this page, and but the text message that I got while I was meditating was from Rachel, and she's not feeling well today. So she was just letting me know that she may not make it at all, but she's definitely not going to make it for our 9 a.m. meeting. And then whenever I was there, she updated us that she's not going to come in at all. So I didn't have my 9 or 10 o'clock meeting, and so I just stayed at Pony Coffee until about 1-ish, somewhere right there, and worked on everything I could on my computer. But then everything else that I needed to do, I had to go to the church for. And it's like my Thursday meetings I enjoy. So it wasn't like it's always fun. What is it? It's like therapists and doctors, they say that the only thing better than a late client is a canceled one. And it's, basically a canceled meeting is, always has its own joy. But it was kind of a neutral, because while I got to go sit at the coffee shop and work, I enjoy my Thursday meetings, so I actually missed out on having them. So net neutral, I guess, potentially even net negative. But anyways, didn't have my meetings and Rachel sick, so that's sad. I did, however, put together a pitch, or a, and that would be a pitch deck for the logo that I made the other day for City Hope, and Matt said that he really liked that, so that's cool. That came together nicely. And what else do I got on here? Well, I decided to make a new worship digital set for the church. Normally, I do kind of one stage design essentially per series, one worship stage design and one teaching stage design. But this series is so long; it's 13 weeks, and so I decided to make a new worship stage design for the upcoming weeks, and made that the other day and went up to the church and tested that on screen. I was very happy. I made two versions. One that I liked more on my computer, but whenever it's like on the computer versus actually being 30 feet wide, and in the room, in the environment, what translates as, because always my goal in these is to fool your brain as much as possible into believing that you're not looking at a screen, that you're in this environment is real. And I try, for the most part, to use our screens to create environments that don't look like screens. And I accomplish that goal quite a bit, because anytime somebody new comes to tour the building, or they come to the church for the first time, I don't get to hear everybody's feedback, but very often the feedback that I hear is like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know that was a screen until it changed," and it kind of startles you a bit whenever you're sitting there and you're like, "Wow, that's beautiful stained glass," and then all of a sudden the entire thing changes to be something else. And then even ones that there's been a few where the some of the people who installed the screen came. So literally, they are who we purchased the screen from, and they do digital design for screens every day. That's like literally his specialty. There was one that I made, and the way that I had made it, he thought that we had built some set pieces that sat in front of the screen, and then there was the screen on behind it, to all work together, and the entire thing was digital. There was no real piece of it, but that was pretty funny to trick the guy who is like the screen guy. But that happens often, and that's the feedback that I love to hear, because that is ultimately my intention. My intention is for you to not think, right? Is that the right way to say that? For you to never think that that's a screen, like that. I want you to walk in and be in an environment, and the screen is part of the environment that you are in, but it's not. It doesn't take up your entire focus. It's not demanding your attention. It's enhancing your awareness, or enhancing your attention, and is also creating the illusion of a real physical environment. And the most recent The one that I just switched out that we've had, this is the 8th week that we've had it, was I did a curtain scene. I wanted to try, I've done a curtain scene in the past, but I wanted to try a new one and see if it could look like a balcony, um, basically like a high-end restaurant overlooking the Arkansas River, but it has sheer curtains in front of the windows that are mostly open, and the sheer curtains are on the side. And that worked out really well. It looked super nice. It wasn't it probably wasn't like the most believable, like the top tier believable, in that some people may have thought that we had hung real curtains up. Actually, one person did tell me that, and an older person. The But the scene itself is so unbelievable because it is obviously a higher up vantage point overlooking um, a river, and so when you go into the building, you know that you're on the first floor and your view is not over a river. So you have to suspend belief for it to be very believable. But the curtains looked real, um, and the scene, if you were transported there, it'd be more believable than if you walked in. Uh, but anyways, it was a good one, and I like it. But it was, this is our 9th week now, and I was like, I think do a new one. And so I did a stained glass, like a modern stained glass with. It's kind of an evolution of one that I had done last year, around this same time. Uh, Actually, I think it must have been last September because I used it during Break the Ground. But it's like an evolution of a previous design of modern kind of muted purple pink color, um, very very like square mid-century modern shapes, but whole new layout, whole new scene. But what's the most new thing is I put a cross on it. That was the one thing that it's where the idea came from, is like we're in Lent right now, we're moving towards the cross, so I wanted to add a cross to the scene. And uh, yeah, it has a lot of depth. And I there's like the light sources obviously from behind it. It's, you're inside, it's stained glass. The light source is from outside, but the light is passing through some trees, and so the trees kind of shadow are also on the stained glass, and that looks really nice. If I was skilled enough, if I knew how to prompt this, or if I knew how to, um, what do you call that? I mean, basically CGI it, but I was trying to think of, um, there's like a program that people, can't think of it. Basically, if I was, if I had more expertise and if I was more skilled, then I would be able to take the scene and actually make those shadows move like the light is coming through the trees, and the trees are gently blowing in the wind, and those shadows would shift. That would be nice. Um, but it would have to be on a loop. And so right now, I know how to create that on a short loop. I could get like a 5, 10 second, 15 second maybe, where it's moving. But to, a 15-second loop, you find the point where it loops very easily. It has to be a very well done loop where you really have to pay attention to figure out that it's looping, which is so hard to do, or it's long, minute plus, so that you don't, like, you really, it's hard to keep your attention on something for a minute. And so you'll glance away, look away. And so the loop can happen, and it would take a lot of staring in order to recognize, like, oh, every 36, well, every 60 seconds, the the shadow falls on that window and does this little, you know. But anyways, uh, yeah, made that, went up to the church. That's what I was getting at. Is I went up to the church and looked at both of the ones that I made, and the one that I thought that I was kind of hoping for, looking at it on the computer, it didn't sell the effect as much as I wanted to, and the other one did. And yeah, there's some textural things that I just wasn't happy with the one that I was preferring on my computer, but yeah. I also, once I was done with work, I was trying to avoid being hungry and eating, and I started working on my computer, working on personal project. And one thing that I'm doing right now is going over on my main YouTube channel and dating all of the videos like I'm doing on my archive this channel. And so in order to date them correctly, I didn't want to date them on their upload date. I want to date them when they were recorded. And so I got out my one of my external hard drives for the 2017 videos that are on the main channel, and I was dating them. But as I was going through those folders, I found 2017 Christmas that I've never done anything with. And so I started working on that. That it was basically like discovering a new tape that I needed to transfer, because I totally forgot that we recorded 2017 Christmas, and we were in New York City, and it was our first Christmas in New York, and our first Christmas that we weren't going home. And so our parents, they shipped us our presents, and then we FaceTimed with the families and did our Christmas, over FaceTime. And I have the FaceTime recording, and I have the recording of us and the FaceTime recording. And so I started putting that together, and I need to respond to this text because I'm about to go meet some people. So that's exciting, to have 2017 Christmas now in the archive that I didn't even know there was archive of. Totally forgot about it. So to have one more Christmas in the lineup is exciting, because in a perfect world, I have every Christmas my whole life, and I'm holding out hope because I still haven't got my Aunt Treva's tapes. I hope that she has a tape of 1991, because I don't have 89. So that one, I do not believe 89 exists. And if it does, I hope I find it one day. but I don't believe 89 exists. But I have 90, don't have 91, but then I have 92 all the way through 2011, I think is what it is. And then there's some missing, and then it restarts around 2017 now. And I think I think we have like 2018 and 1920, all those. So there's like a good 7-year gap or so, maybe even longer, with no Christmas video. I'm sure some of us took iPhone videos during that time, so it's potential I could recover some of those lost years by making sure that I don't have any iPhone videos, and then asking the whole family to look in their camera rolls and see if they have any video from those Christmases and send them to me, and then I can compile them all. But having something would be better than nothing, but even those would just be like clip videos versus all the other ones are like hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long videos of just like everything. So anyways, that was exciting today to find 2017 Christmas. I didn't read today. I have not yet read, and I probably will not. Actually, I know I'm not, because essentially right after I'm done with this, I'm going to Holland Hall, because going with Cooper and Monica and Jackson and Fanya and Arda to a Q&A with Tim Blake Nelson and Roger Deakins, and being interviewed by Michael Hewlett of the Hewlett Collection. So Roger Deakins, cinematographer, and Tim Blake Nelson, a actor, writer, director. He was in Spielberg's Lincoln, Minority Report, as well as the Coen brothers' Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? So anyways, that's an interesting thing happening in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I'm about to go do that. Overall, I guess, Lent is going well, a week and a day in, and I'm staying with my commitment, and also feeling the suffering of that commitment, but also feeling the joy and fruit of that commitment as well. And it is kind of wild to know that I'm 1 week in and there's 6 weeks of Lent, but I don't necessarily have like a strong emotion about it. It's more so just crazy to think that it is 6 weeks long. Next Friday week, we're doing 12-hour all-night prayer. So that will be interesting as well. It was good last September we did that, but I wasn't fasting in September. So this will be, I'm fasting and staying up all night that'll be yeah, interesting. Um, did I talk about this yesterday? I think I did. Pretty sure I did. The Korean movie Good Boy. I'm pretty sure I talked about it yesterday, and um, just thought about it again. So it's sticking with me. What else has been on my mind? Um, I did learn today that the Matt's Pastor Matt's spiritual director that we did a podcast with last week. Dang it. Kevin Navarro. Whenever I was promoting or making a post to promote that episode, and I saw that he was part of his training. He studied at Center for Action and Contemplation, and Center for Action and Contemplation was founded by Richard Rohr. And so, now I have so many more questions to ask Kevin. Also, while we were in the podcast and he was talking about what he does at the Rewire team, because is about it is also a Center for Action and Contemplation. Whenever he was talking about their thing, and about prayer and reading and all the things, how that's only part of the puzzle, and action is an equal part of that puzzle. I was going to ask him if he knew about Center for Action and Contemplation, and I absolutely should have, because then he could have talked about how, yes, I studied with Richard Rohr at Center for Action and Contemplation, and I could have known and learned more about that. So there's that. Secondly, the fact that podcast, he talked about that with spiritual books and spiritual reading, especially whenever you're talking about mystic books and these deep books, that not only do you need to read it slowly the first time, but these are books that we need to reread until we just need to keep rereading them. And that gave me the gumption to do what I had already been feeling in my spirit, that I needed to go back and read the Universal Christ, go back and reread the lineup of books that have led me on this journey, and starting with the Universal Christ. And so in that podcast, it gave me that motivation. I started reading it, and then I learned that he studied with Richard Rohr. So, been thinking about that. I was thinking about that today. I would like to ask him more about that. But yeah, that's basically what I've got for today. In journaling and morning pages, it's like, you write the whole page, and even if you don't know what to write, just say, I don't know what to write, until you figure it out. So for our last 20 seconds, not sure what to say, not sure what to talk about, but here I am doing my thing on this February 26th. Thanks for watching.